Guys, one of the reasons why white privilege and white hegemony is under attack so much from the far left super liberals is because they see that as the biggest roadblock in the way of full-blown communism slash Marxism being introduced into the United States. And this is why the liberal media tries so hard to go after the so-called conservative. And to be quite honest with you here, as a black man, they don't even see us as a threat. That's why they try to work through black women to try to keep black men in our place, because they don't even see us as a threat at all. Hence why they go directly after the white male. Now, part of the line of attack is in the school system. You have to teach people from a really young age to check your privilege and to realize that you are white. And because you are white, by definition, you are racist. You may not know you're racist, but you are unconsciously racist. This is something that I've learned in college, not just in class, but also through other friends who are white. The liberal white truly does believe that they are unconsciously racist and that they need to constantly be trying to make sure they're not being racist. Okay, this is what they're using our taxpayer dollars to teach kids in school. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at gforemanbcp. Let's get it. All right, guys. So there was a great article in the New York Post about how a San Diego school district held, quote, white privilege training and told teachers you are racist. A school district in San Diego held, quote, white privilege training for teachers in which they were told, quote, you are racist, and asked to commit to being, quote, anti-racist in the classroom, according to the report. Now, obviously, what this really means is you should be racist towards white people in order to be anti-racist. That's essentially what that means in a nutshell. The San Diego Unified School District began the sessions with instructors telling the faculty members that they will experience, quote, guilt, anger, empathy, and closed-mindedness because of their, quote, white fragility, according to leaked documents obtained by journalist Christopher F. Rufo. Now, I can tell you guys for a fact, this is straight from academia, right? They tell you that you're experiencing these emotions because you are white. That's why you're going to experience these emotions. We're going to tell you how you should feel solely because of your color. But yet they'll try to tell you that they're the ones that are anti-racist, but yet they're telling you how you should feel based solely off of your color. Now, you guys see the irony in that, right? During the voluntary training, the teachers were taught about, quote, land acknowledgement and asked to accept that the U.S. was established on stolen Native American land. The report said, this is the second part. They will try to distort history and tell it in a certain way in order to continue to promote the idea that white people are inherently racist. They conveniently leave out the fact that I think historians agree that over 90% of the Native Americans did not die because some white man came over and shot them. They died from disease. So even if white people came over and were as friendly and as peaceful as they could be, which both sides were hostile, right, in a lot of circumstances, but even if they were friendly as they could be, a lot of Native Americans would have died solely from contact and disease. Okay? But they conveniently leave that out because that doesn't fit the narrative. They also learned about the teachings of, quote, white fragility, author Robin DiAngelo, and, quote, Be Anti-Racist, a journal for awareness, reflection, and action by Ibram X. Ken. After watching clips of the two authors, the trainers reportedly told the group that, quote, you are racist and, quote, upholding racist ideas, structures, and policies. Again, solely based off of race. You've come to these conclusions. Now, if a white person tells a black person, you're lazy, you eat fried chicken, I think you like watermelon, you're likely to commit crimes based solely off the color of their skin, again, that would be a textbook racist according to most people, right? The way we think about racism. But apparently telling a white person that you're racist and that you hold ideas, structures, and policies that are also racist, and you're a part of the so-called systemically racist system, apparently that is not racist. That is anti-racism. This is the narrative that they tell you, right? And it doesn't even make sense on face value, but these people claim to be the smartest people in the room and that they know so much. The group was challenged to become, quote, anti-racist in the classroom, as well as, quote, confront and examine their white privilege and, quote, teach others to see their privilege, according to the report. Again, this is a folly in academia where they believe that you can experience something that is impossible for you to experience. Even if you believe in white privilege, right? It is impossible for a white person to see their privilege solely in virtue of being white, right? If you're white and you're in the dominant group or dominant subgroup, whatever you want to call it, the majority, yes, it's going to be damn near impossible for you to see your privilege. It's going to be impossible, right? So trying to tell people they have privilege and trying to get them to see it is a waste of time. And a lot of people will argue that if you look at it from a class perspective, which is the perspective that I like to look at, the only privilege that actually exists is rich privilege. The more resources that you were born with, right? The more money that your family has, the easier you're going to have it in life, regardless of your race. Nobody can sit here and tell me that the Kardashian kids are not going to have great lives. Nobody can tell me that LeBron's kids are not going to have great lives. Nobody can tell me that any black child born in America that is born in the upper middle class or is rich is going to have the so-called black experience in America. That's just not. They're going to have the rich experience in America. And then once people understand that, they'll understand that all this anti-racism stuff is really a mirage in order for you to forget the fact that what really matters in life, right, in terms of privilege, is getting the money, right? That's what really matters. But the school district said hundreds of teachers chose to attend the professional development session, which was based on the teachings from author Annalise A. Singh's, quote, racial healing handbook. Quote, we are a majority minority district with a majority white teacher workforce. The ability to hold honest conversations about race with grace is important, which is why we offer the training and why so many teachers elected to enroll, a district spokesperson said in a statement. Quote, our students benefit from being able to talk about race and other difficult issues regardless of their background. Most of all, we believe very open and sincere conversation about race, no matter how it begins, provides an opportunity to learn from one another, for hearts to open and for minds to grow, the spokesperson said. I disagree there because I believe ultimately the race conversation leads to nowhere. There is no solution to it. I don't understand why people want to keep having this conversation. The liberals love going back and forth with each other about race. And at the end of the day, the best and easiest way to solve the race problem is to just stop talking about it. Let Americans be Americans. Let people be people. The training sessions come after the district vowed to be, quote, anti-racist amid nationwide protests against racial injustice, which began in the wake of cop-involved killings of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor. The only one of those incidences that really had anything arguably to do with race is Ahmaud Arbery. That's the only one. Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, if you're linking that to just race, you reaching. You reaching, bruh. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I don't see anything racist about those incidents. Now, the Ahmaud Arbery one, yes, I do think race was definitely a factor in that. But the other two, I think that's a reach. Earlier this year, the district underwent a major overhaul to its grading system as a part of a larger effort to combat racial discrimination, the San Diego Union Tribune reported. Data had revealed there were significant disparities between a percentage of white and minority students who received D or F grades in the first semester of the last year. While white students made up 7% of all D or F grades, black students accounted for 20%, and Hispanic students received about 23% of them, the paper reported. Jesus Christ, man. Here we go again. Again, one thing about the super liberals is that they have no solutions to their problems, because every single solution that they have always has to involve race. They never look at the individual factors that go on in somebody's life, right? Such as, do you have a two-parent household? How much income do the parents have coming in? Do the parents read to the kids? How much do the parents value education? They don't look at those factors to determine why a student may be failing, but instead they just solely look at race. Black people are not doing well in school because of racism. It has to be some white person has to be bringing down a black person. And this is why I said at the beginning of my video that they don't even see black people, and particularly the black man, as even a threat at all, because look at the way they treat us. They treat us like children, in the sense that you have to be coddled. Nothing is ever your fault. You can't do anything for yourself. And that we have to bend the rules to make it so you can get ahead, because we just don't believe you're good enough to compete. You notice how they didn't include the Asian students in this. They didn't talk about Asian at all. But because, see, if you throw the Asian in there, that throws off the whole race conversation. That throws off the whole white supremacy thing. All of a sudden, the Asian being there is proof that, maybe it's not just about color. Maybe it's about culture. Maybe culture plays a factor into how well somebody does in school. Maybe their parents' values and their beliefs and how much time and investment they put into their children plays a huge role in the academic achievement of a child. But that's not the narrative they want. They want the narrative that you're doing bad because some white person is holding you back solely based off your skin color, so that taxpayers can continue to pay for these useless programs and these consultants who are career and lifelong victimhood pushers and solely are employed based off of black people playing the victim. That's it. That's it. That's all it's about, because if they actually came up with a real solution, they would no longer be employed. They would no longer be employed. Wouldn't be useful. These guys would sell no books. They would have no voice. They'll be nobodies. So you can't come up with a real solution. You can't talk about two-parent households. You can't talk about black fathers. You can't talk about, the parents' responsibility in terms of child's educational. It has to be something that the government can fix. The government has to be able to fix it. Got to be the government. But ultimately, they're going to find out. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe they already know. I'm pretty sure they do. This is not a problem that the government can fix. This is a problem that only can be fixed in the household. And most likely, they already know this. In an effort to prevent discrimination, the school board voted to eliminate non-academic factors like late work and classroom behavior in a student's grade. BS, man. Okay, one of the problems with some of these failing schools is because they have failing students. A school is failing because the students are failing. The students are bad, not necessarily because the teachers are bad. Now, I'm not saying some teachers aren't bad. There are a lot of teachers that are subpar. But most of the time it's because you have students that come to school, act up in class, and disrupt the learning process because they're not taking their education seriously. So now they're saying, let's stop punishing students who are interrupting the educational/academic learning process. That's what they're saying. Again, how does that make sense? If you're turning in your work late, you should be punished, because in the real world, if you come to work late, you might get fired, right? If you're disrupting the classroom so other people can't learn, and then you're not getting punished for it, what's stopping you from doing that? That's the type of person that needs to be punished. You're making it so students that want to learn, they want to get an education, can't do it, which inherently in and of itself is affecting minority students. Again, they don't have any solutions. The solutions that they implement only are going to make the problem worse, because if the problem gets worse, they will keep making money. It's really simple. Quote, "This is the part of our honest reckoning as a school district," said Richard Barrera, who is the district's vice president. NBC San Diego reported, "If we're actually going to be anti-racist school district, we have to confront practices like this that have gone on for years and years. No, What you need to confront is why the parents aren't doing more when the child is younger in order to help the child with their academic achievement. You need to confront the parent. That's who you need to be confronting. The school board also vowed to increase diversity among faculty, require school police to undergo de-escalation training, and require training to eliminate bias in the hiring process. And that's the end of the article. So, guys, again, more woke news, more of liberal academia coming into our schools and teaching our kids nonsense and not focusing on teaching our kids life skills and things that are going to help them actually succeed in life. Have you noticed that out of all these woke articles, none of these people ever suggest, how about they have a personal finance course? Why don't kids know more about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, investments? Why can't kids come out of high school with the ability to grow their money or to run a business or have essential skills that are going to allow them to get a good job right out of school? None of these solutions are ever suggested by academia or these woke revolutionaries. None of them. Because these are solutions that will actually help. If these solutions were implemented, they wouldn't have jobs anymore. That's the truth. So, there's not really much more I can say about this, except this is just more woke lunacy from academia and school districts. And I really feel bad for the taxpayers that have to foot the bill for these woke revolutionary teachings that are being taught to our kids in school. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.